I'm gonna try to put chapters for every survivor so you can just skip to them. Hey guys, Jelly here. So there are going to be a lot of new players coming to Dead by Daylight. So I want to make this video to make sure that you don't start off incorrectly. A lot of the survivors in Dead by Daylight don't know how to properly. They need to know that they're a team, and teamwork is the best part of Dead by Daylight. And when one person's good and one person's not, it just ruins the game. So for all the new players, I want to make sure you guys are at least an asset to the team. So let's get on with the survivors. The best survivors would be Bill, Dude. Bill has 3 perks: Left Behind, Borrowed Time, and Unbreakable. Borrowed Time and Unbreakable are one of the 2 best perks in the game. BT, when you unhook somebody, they get an endurance status that allows them to basically take another hit for 8 seconds, which is really good. You may not know how good it is, but this next perk, you can already know why it's so good. You can recover from the dying state, which is when you're on the ground. Normally, when you're on the ground, you can't revive yourself fully to being able to walk. But with this perk, you can. You can only do it once per trial, but it can really come in clutch when your entire team is down. Next survivor that's really good is Claudette. Now the thing about Claudette is that this perk can be used very incorrectly. So this perk can be very good. You can heal yourself, but you can heal yourself without a medkit. The problem with this perk is that bad survivors just go to the corner of the map to use it. That's a waste of time. And plus that self-care is 50% slower than a normal medkit. It takes 36 seconds, I believe, to fully heal yourself. And it takes one generator takes 80 seconds, which is just a huge time waster. You need to use this strategically. Just use it maybe when you're in chase. Just use it if you use it in a terrible situation. Let's say your entire team is down and you're injured. Use the perk. Don't use it while you're in the middle of a game, one person's hooked. Just don't use it at bad times. Only use it when it's really clutchable. Bonding Knowledge goes really well with self-care. You heal 11% faster for tier 1. If you don't know what tiers are, they're different tiers of perks. So let's go to a character that doesn't have tier 3. So you have tier 2, its status for 50 seconds. So if it was tier 3, it would only cause the exhaustion status for 40 seconds. So it would just make the perk a little bit better. So back onto Claudette. Bonding Knowledge will heal 11, 22, and 33% faster depending on what tier you're on. This goes really well with self-care because instead of going 50% slower than a medkit, you'll go 22% slower than a medkit. Now Dwight, this is the character you'll start off with, that you'll load in with. Dwight has 2 really good perks and 1 perk that's good for different, we call them builds. So builds are when you have a specific line of perks that do a specific thing. So Bond would be good for a flashlight phasing build, which we'll get onto later. Prove Thyself is one of the best perks in the game, if not the best perk. So gens are the main object of the game. There are 5 generators. You do all 5 and you open up one of 2 doors and you escape. Doing the generator is literally the most important and crucial step to being a survivor. Do not run around. Do not, like, mess around with, like, just running around. If you see a generator, hop on it. Like, unless you're in chase, obviously. Unless the killer is chasing you, please do a generator. Now, this perk allows you, when you're on a when you're on a generator, we call a generator gens. So, when you're on a gen with another survivor, you get 15% repair bonus speed, which is insane. Now, this just makes the generators fly by, and you can escape way faster. It's so much pressure on the killer. It is insane. Now, leader is a very good perk. It doesn't benefit you, but it benefits the survivors around you to do stuff faster, like opening up chests. It doesn't work on generators like Prove Thyself does, but it's a really good perk that your survivor will benefit and love you for having it. Now, Bond, it really isn't that good just to run by itself, but there's other perks that can go along with it that are very good. Now, Meg is also a really good survivor. All her perks are good, like just to run by themselves. Sprint Burst is one of the best exhaustion perks in the game.
Alright, so I'm gonna just jump in right here. So I have this perk called Dead Hard. It's an exhaustion perk. So when I use it, I can use it while I'm running, and I can hit X to avoid any hit. And it's an exhaustion perk. I'll show you what it does in a second. So I use Dead Hard, and you can see right there that that there's a heart there, and that means I'm exhausted. And you can see now that I'm running, I can't use Dead Hard again like I used it earlier. So that's pretty much all that exhaustion perk is. Another thing about exhaustion is that you can see here that I'm not running. You can see that the bar is going down. So if you're crouching and walking, or just standing still, or on a generator or something, your exhaustion will go down.
That's about it. So, exhaustion perks are just perks that make you exhausted after using them. Quick and Quiet is a very good perk. In higher ranks, if you don't know what a rank is, we'll get to that later. It's just a level, pretty much, to summarize it. So, with this perk, you get to vault. Before we talk about the perk, we need to know what a fast vault, a medium vault, and a slow vault is. So there's a window right here. So if you go it from a long distance and like directly on, there's some angle that you can hit it from. So from here you can hit a fast vault. But this is a medium vault. Let's say I'm going at this angle, it's a medium vault because it'll at an angle. So try your best to have the best angle possible to get a fast vault, because the killer can hit you through windows. Khalid, just come over here. Khalid, just hit me through the window. So let's say he was chasing me and I vault, he can hit me through there. He can also hit you in a fast vault. So this perk, every 30 seconds, your vault and hide in a locker noise is reduced, is basically silent. And also, you can hide in a locker with this. So if you're holding your running button and you go into a locker, it'll make a loud noise because you're vaulting it, or you're hiding in it fastly. If you don't hold the run while you hop in a locker, you get into it slowly. Now, adrenaline. I personally dislike this perk, but it'll be really good to start off with. So, when all the generators are done, you instantly get healed, and you basically have sprint burst for 5 seconds, and you'll get exhausted after that. You can use this perk while you're exhausted, and it automatically pops when all the generators are done. So let's say there's one generator left. It pops. So I'm injured. If you're injured or on the ground, like recovering, it will automatically, if you're on the ground, it will heal you to injured. And if you're injured, it will heal you to healed. And if you're healed, it won't do anything. It will still give you the speed boost though. And it will cause the exhaustion effect. This is really good. It really just saves you a lot of time because the end game is very like intense, to say the least. Alright. Now Jake Park has one really good perk and two perks that shouldn't be used for starting. Iron Will is a very good perk once you get it to tier 3. So when you're injured, you start to groan, like groans of pain when you're injured. And they could be very easy to track if you're around. Like let's say you're hiding behind a rock and the killer passes you, they can hear that groaning and just detect that you're behind the rock. But with this perk, obviously, it will be completely silent if you get it to tier 3. Now, this is a really good perk used by really good survivors. This perk, to be honest, it's not good. No killer pays attention to woodland creatures, which are the crows. Just don't use this perk. Against the doctor, it's very good. But other than that, just don't use this perk. Saboteur, I suggest, like I said with Bond, it's very good with specific builds. But running this perk by itself and starting off with in the game, it's not that good. Because what good survivors do with this perk is that when somebody is on their shoulder about to be placed on the hook, you can sabotage the hook and make it so the killer can't hook them. But I suggest running it with a build and not just running it solo, and especially because you're starting off. Now Nia is one of the perks that a lot of survivors like to start off with. So Balance Landing is a pretty good exhaustion perk. Urban Evasion is a very popular perk amongst new survivors. And Streetwise is good for builds again. So let's start off with Balance Landing. This is pretty simple. When you jump from a high area on the map, like a hill, a house, you don't take fall damage. Like with or without this perk, you don't take fall damage in the game. But like Apex Legends, when you fall from a high place, you get like stunned for a bit, and like you can't move that well or that fast. But with this, you avoid that stun, and you just get a sprint burst every time you fall from a high place. First, you need to know what the layout of the map is to know, like, if you're in a chase, you know where to go to jump from a high place to use this perk strategically in chase. But if you're starting off, you might not know what counts as a high place or where a high place is on the map directly. So I suggest holding off on this perk until you learn layouts of the maps. Now, Urban Evasion. This perk really triggers me because people use it incorrectly. So, you crouch obviously slower than your walking speed. So with this, your crouching speed is just the same as your walking speed, but you're just like hiding. This perk isn't that good unless you're like right next to the killer and you need to hide, like Iron Will. So you don't leave scratch marks, which we'll get into later, or in a different video. You don't leave scratch marks, which is another form of the way that killers can track you down. If you're running, you leave scratch marks. But if you're walking or crouching, you don't. Scratch marks is like a trail of blood, but without blood. It's like if you run, you basically leave a trail of scratch marks that can lead to your location. And that happens when you're healed, injured, so it can happen anytime. So this perk, the reason I don't like this perk when teammates use it is because they use it 24/7. Like, they don't walk or run. When you play Survivor, I don't want you to be hiding across the map while the killer's somebody else. I don't want you to urban evade when you don't need to. Only urban evade to hide when the killer's right next to you. I suggest my one Survivor tip is to run everywhere. Running everywhere just saves you a whole lot more time. And yes, the killer may be able to track you. It's still gonna be time consuming for the killer to track you using scratch marks. And it's also it's more beneficial for you than it is for the killer. Because if you're just walking everywhere, you're not doing generators. You're just wasting time. And time, you need to use it very smartly. You can't just be walking around, or you have to be doing something. It's either healing a person, doing a generator, or unhooking somebody, or getting chased. Streetwise, this perk is another one of those perks that goes into a build, most likely. So let's say I'm running an item. So there are a couple items. I don't have them all here. But there's toolbox, there's medkits, there's flashlights, there's maps, and there's keys. So they all use like energy, which are these charges here. I'll try to highlight it for you in editing. But what Streetwise does is it makes that time consuming, not time consuming. It makes the consumption rate a lot slower. So that's pretty much it. And it also works for your allies if they're in an 8-meter range, which is really good. Now, a lot of these survivors that I don't have purchased are not that good to start off with. Nancy, here, let me go through them. Alright, let's start off with David King. David King is very good with this one perk. The other two perks are not that good for starting off. We're gonna live forever. It's not that good because you don't know how to do a lot of like flashlight save and pallet save, which I'll get into in another video. And you only get, if you start off, you're probably only gonna get it from unhooking. And that's not very efficient, so don't run this perk. Yeah, just don't get, I'm not gonna explain what the perk is, but I'm just gonna say don't run it. Now next we have no mitter. So, no mitter is a pretty joke around the community, around the Dead by Daylight community. It's a very meme perk because you're injured for the entire match, so you can't be healed, and you're gonna be injured for the entire map. So one hit and you're dead on the ground. But when you're on the ground, you can fully recover, which is not that good. But you don't leave pools of blood, and your grunts of pain are reduced by 25%. It's not that good. This guy, all his perks are terrible. Feng Ming is a very good survivor to start off with. Technician, so when you do a generator, you're gonna face these things called a skill check. I'll try to pop a video up of a skill check right here. So you're gonna have to hit whatever your designated button is to hit a skill check. If you miss, with this perk, every time you miss a skill check, it's not gonna alert the killer. When you miss a skill check without this perk, it's gonna alert the killer where you are, or what gen you're on. So with this perk, that will not happen. The generator will lose some extra progress when you do miss a skill check, so be warned. And that's about it. The other part of this perk is that The noises heard by your repairs are a lot distant, but newer killers are not gonna come across that. Now, life is also, every exhaustion perk is good. Death Heart is the best. Sprint Perk second best. I think life would be third. Actually, no, balance landing would be third. This would be fourth or third. I think balance and life have third and fourth place tied. But so when you do a fast vault or a medium vault, you get sprint burst. So you just get 150% of your moving speed for 3 seconds, and then you're exhausted. That's about it. So make sure if you're running this perk, don't do a fast vault when you don't need to. Now, alert is so there are these things called auras. So it's basically like wall hacks. You can see the killer's outline, or where they're at every time they break a generator, a pallet, or a breakable wall. So every time they break one of those, you'll see where the killer for 3, 4, and 5 seconds, depending on tier, which is really good just to know where they are at. It's really good. Adam, so these are the survivors that you need to start buying. You need to buy Adam, is one of the people that you need to purchase, and that's about it. All these survivors come free except for Adam. These are survivors that you need to buy, so I'm not gonna tell you to buy survivors just to start off the game, but I'm just gonna show you all these basic ones, which I just did. So, in conclusion, Dwight So, one thing I forgot to talk to you guys about is how teachable perks work. So, you can see that all my character levels are at level 50. That's because that's the max level. And then you can go into prestige, and then it'll remove all your perks, all your items, and just give you a shirt. It's pointless. But what teachable perks are, when you get to level 30, you'll be able to, let's say David, you'll be able to use this perk on any other survivor. So, let's say, so this perk can be an orange perk. And when it's an orange perk, that means it's David's perk, but when you get it, it'll be teachable. So that means every other killer, or every other survivor, will be able to get that perk. So David's perk are No Matter, Dead Hard, and We're Gonna Live Forever. So let's go to my Claudette, and you can see that I have Dead Hard, I have No Matter somewhere around here, I have No Matter, and I have We're Gonna Live Forever. So when you get to level 30, you can start getting those for your killers, or I'm so sorry, for your survivors, and yeah. So in conclusion, we have number 1, Feng, number 2, Meg, number 3, Bill, 4, Nia, 5, Dwight, 6, David, 7, Jake, and 8, Ace. So Fang is the best one because she has a perk for every type of mistake that a new survivor can make. So I just went into a game, but Technician, where if you miss a skill check, it doesn't alert the killer, is very good because new survivors are going to be struggling to hit skill checks. And Life, because new survivors are also going to be struggling in Chase, which Life will help out. And Alert will just tell them where the killer is if the survivor doesn't know how to, tell. And Meg is very good to know exhaustion perks and chase perks at an early rank. And same thing with Bill. Bill has the 2 most meta perks for high rank survivors, so it's also good to learn and adapt to those perks at a early rank. So yeah, that's about it. Never play Ace ever in your life. And yeah.